Gloomy Gulch is home to the final roller coaster level of the game, Haunted Hall. A seemingly straightforward level with a fun but frantic gameplay hook, Haunted Hall is the one and only building in all of Gloomy Gulch, and has a lot more going on than it initially appears. This is part 28 of Overthinking Donkey Kong Country 2. As usual, let's start by having a look at the gameplay. We're on a roller coaster, just like in Target-Terra and Rickety Race. This time around, the central gameplay element is Cackle, the spectral Kremling skeleton. He's relentlessly on the Kong's tail, and for some reason, the only thing stopping him from giving you the touch of death is a timer at the top of the screen. Green plus barrels increase the count, red minus barrels lower it. If it hits 0, you lose a Kong. Like so many levels before it, it's a simple concept that makes for great gameplay. First time players will definitely feel the fear in this level. The first Cackle run starts with 3 green barrels before introducing a couple of red ones. If the red minus sign wasn't enough to give their roll away, the bananas instructing players to avoid them should do the trick. The Cackles wear different bandanas each run, so I'm assuming they're different people each time. The first wears a blue bandana, the second wears a green one. There's a short run between them with some zingers and bonus areas. Speaking of bonus areas, I think this level has the most fun bonus areas in the game. The first is this fairly stock standard collect the stars, something we'll see in DKC3 a couple times. It's great, it's pretty hard to mess up, but the real highlight for me is this second one that sees you rolling backwards at high speed to reach the coin. Not only is it unlike any bonus area in the game, it's heaps of fun. It's really well hidden too. The third one is a little later and is a lot more straightforward, but still cool. Anyway, the green Cackles run is all green barrels. Might sound easy, but you're gonna need every one of them because the timer starts off dangerously low. There's a checkpoint barrel after that run, as well as a DK barrel in case you lost a Kong. The third run is like the mirror version of the green bandana run. A yellow Cackle pursues you over a course with only red barrels. This time, you've been given a generous amount of time, but if you're not careful, the minus barrels will whittle that down to jack. There's another run of zingers before the fourth and final Cackle run. The red bandana Cackle chases you through a mix of both green and red barrels. Some of them are quite close together, meaning you've got to be precise with your jumps to get the necessary green ones and avoid the red. And there's a few more red than green overall, so the deck's stacked against you. I love this run, because it's such a great example of just how well constructed this game is. It takes everything we've learned in the previous runs and combines it to make something new. It puts the players' skills to the test, but not before they've had ample time to get their heads around it. It's like a final exam of the level. Most DKC2 levels unfold in this way, and I just think it's so well done. There's no shortage of platformers on the Super Nintendo that have no fucking clue about level design, so I feel like it's important to give games like this their due credit. Anyway, that's enough gushing over DKC2. You already know I love this game. While on the surface, Haunted Hall might seem like just another fun roller coaster level, but I do feel there's a bit more going on that's worth talking about. First of all, while the level tile set is the same as the roller coaster levels, the background is totally unique and is the only one of its kind in the entire game, and by extension, the Donkey Kong Country trilogy. In that way, it's like this game's slip slide ride. I feel like I've said that before. Let's come back to that in a second. I want to introduce you all to Mr. X. He's one of the few enemies cut from DKC2 that we know about. It's been said that he was originally intended to be a major antagonist in the game, but in a Playtonic Reddit AMA, Steve Mails confirmed that his role was replaced by Cackle. So there you go. Mr. X feels like a transitional character between the first game and the second. He's got the hat, the cutlass, and the hook hands of a pirate, but his jacket and medals are distinctly military, which leans much more heavily towards the dominant Kremling aesthetic of the first game. I'd put forth the theory that maybe DKC2's Kremlings were originally more naval in design, if not for Greg Mails' well-known love of pirates. If that were ever in doubt, one only has to look at Project Dream, Banjo-Kazooie, and Sea of Thieves for more evidence. Could be that Mr. X's hook hands were later repurposed for Crook. I've got no evidence to back that up though. Before we wrap up this episode, I want to circle back to the library in the background, because I think there's more going on here than it initially seems. How many Kremlings do you think are literate? 2? 3? What could they possibly want with all these books? Well, I think it tells us a few things. First, that these books have been here for a long time. And second, that whoever they belong to was almost definitely much smarter than the present day Kremlings. We've discussed the Kremlings' inability for big picture thinking, both in this series and the original Overthinking DKC. And we've discussed their gradual devolution over time, but I think there may actually be something else at play here. Something I'm calling the Curse of the Kremlings. It's been hinted at throughout the entire game, but it wasn't until Gloomy Gulch that I put the pieces together. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait a few more episodes before I reveal it entirely. Trust me, it'll all make sense in the end. And just like that, we say goodbye to the roller coaster levels of DKC2. I don't know why, but when we see the final level of a particular tile set, it always feels a bit bittersweet, you know? Oh well. Onward and upward, literally.